Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Friday, March 16th, 10:47 p.m. Mountain Time. You're looking at the total accumulated snowfall GFS model that just came out 5 minutes ago. I was able to download it for you so you can get the most updated info on the Sierra snow, predicted to be over 5 feet over the next 5 days. This model is only going out into the first of spring here. First day of spring. Here's the second day of spring. Third day of spring. This is a 240-hour model. It's pretty accurate. You can see the first event covering the west here and then moving quickly east. This is the model we looked at yesterday. It has shifted slightly, and the nor'easter is going to be offshore now, according to the model. We'll get into it. But there are records being broken. Cold snap sets new record. Low temperature in Vero Beach. Ties record low in Fort Pierce. My bees were out today, but they're probably not coming out in Florida. A cold front brought record low temperatures Friday morning to Vero Beach and Fort Pierce, but it's unlikely that to get this cold again this spring. I do not believe you at all, because on the 22nd, it will be colder, and maybe the 23rd. This morning was definitely colder than previous mornings and did break some records set in a few areas along the Space Treasure coasts. Guys, I bet you didn't hear about this in the mainstream. No mainstream media picked this up. The temperatures fell to 33 degrees in Vero Beach, Florida, Friday morning, breaking the record of 35 by 2 degrees, which is epic in Florida. And that goes back to 1988. The temperatures dropped to 34 degrees in Fort Pierce, matching the previous record from the same year. The cold temperatures are not unusual. Can you see what they're writing here? It's normally this cold, except that you broke all-time records. This is how they obfuscate from the truth. It's happening all over the map. It's usually this cold. It was a record, and that's a heads up. I don't know how anyone cannot see through this nonsense. Here's more nonsense. Warm uptick. It's not going to be record warm, but it was record cold in Melbourne, Florida. But the title of the article says warm uptick in temperatures. Follow the record colds in Florida. Global warming much? No. Grand solar minimum. Boom. Because we're using science, and this is not science. This is the way the media is lying to the sheeple. And she's like, oh my God, I shaved my head like Britney. Oh my God, it's going to get warmer after the record cold. If it's record cold, everything is warmer. Meteorologist confirms that, yes, it was surprisingly cold Friday because it was a record. Melbourne tied its record cold temperatures for March 16th when it dropped to 39 degrees early Friday, but the media cannot understand that this is record cold and has nothing to do with it warming up. If it's record cold, everything after that is a warm uptick. It is getting insane. You need to absolutely be a mouth-breathing, brain-dead individual to understand this article. Because you're going to be like, oh my God, it must be global warming. Let's check the map, Weather Ready Nation. We have winter storm warnings in 15 states, as well as winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories for Arizona, California, Nevada, Idaho, Montana, Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia. And the snowstorm isn't here yet. There are avalanche warnings throughout central Utah in over 8,000 square miles. We have a flood warning in the middle of winter storm watches all around west central Montana, as well as a very rare 4,000 square mile area with a frozen fog warning. I have no idea what that is, and I do not want to be involved in it. I'll leave you links to weather.gov. Let's look at the current GFS model and check out the newest pattern. Here we are right now, just as I predicted in the Quad Cities and Davenport area. In the morning, there will be a major ice storm creating havoc and causing thousands of accidents. We'll be reporting on it tomorrow night. As the snow moves into Nevada and Big Bear, Southern California mountains, it's only going to increase for the next 10 days. And you're looking at upwards of models that I've seen 10 to 12 feet of snow in some areas in the Sierras. This is heavy, wet snow that's going to cause massive, deadly avalanches. So let's take it through Saturday night. This storm is going to, and this low pressure is going to break apart in western Pennsylvania right here. So West Virginia is going to get a little pulse of activity while the new storm moves into the Four Corners area and brings us late season snow, which is going to bring our snowpack up to normal levels and give us awesome runoff because our rivers are already starting to rise. The isobars are showing huge amounts of snow here east of the Rocky Mountain front. And that's going to give Denver a big heads up moving into spring, 2 days before spring here. Heavy snow's forming here in this portion of northeastern Colorado and Nebraska sometime on Monday morning. And then the storm will start to develop. We have a potential for hail and tornadoes here throughout Missouri. And as this storm develops, West Virginia is going to be the center of action. We're going to have freezing rain and sleet associated with heavy wet snow here in southern Pennsylvania starting Tuesday morning, March 20th. And then the storm quickly intensifies as the pressure drops off the coast of the Delmarva Peninsula. And the models are really only changing in the position. This is going to be quite a weather maker. Thunder snow in South Jersey, as well as a sleet, freezing rain event, and heavy snow in the Philadelphia area, as well as Camden, New Jersey, Trenton. And this quickly moves offshore, creating a freezing rain snow event for Long Island and Boston. Now, a secondary low develops the next 12 hours after this low skirts offshore, even further south, bringing heavy snow all the way to southern West Virginia into North Carolina. And this is going to sit here for 24 hours, dumping snow all the way south all day. So the current, and at the same time, we're getting heavy snows coming into the Sierra here. Massive flooding in Washington State. We're going to be watching this. So the spring models, spring showers will bring May flowers, but here we have a low pressure developing on the Canadian Craton. Heads up, Rhett. You're about to be buried here maybe in the first week of spring as this moves across the Craton, dumping heavy snow. So there's the models. We'll cover them as we move forward. Let this play through. And it's showing you by the end of the models that the major snow here is in western Maryland, southern West Virginia here, and parts of Virginia in the Appalachians. It's going to be a pretty major event for Philadelphia, Trenton, Cherry Hill, parts of Delaware. Going to be some major disruptions and some major eyes opening with all this global warming falling. March nor'easter brings record snowfalls to New England ski areas. We're talking record beating the West currently. They're going to be skiing into April, maybe into May. New Hampshire resorts see more than 30 inches of snow this week. Here are the totals. Across the country, the top ski area is in Jackson Hole, Wyoming at 409 inches. Then we have the Grand Targhee in Wyoming at 390. Jay Peak is third in Vermont with 345. Woo! Strap on your powder flags and head out to Utah where there's 290 inches. Or you can go to Notch Peak or in Smuggler's Notch, Vermont, 275. Alta, Utah, 270. California 258, and Stowe, Vermont coming in with 241, Killington 206, Bolton Valley, Vermont 205. Half of these mountains are in New England. You might be seeing a pattern here. It's called record snow, grand solar minimum pattern, and we're reporting on it. Don't believe the hype. It's a sequel. Where's the spring? Snow possible for the DC area next week. Heads up, Ice Age 2050. March is certainly turning out to be a cold month. The last 11 days all below average. 15 consecutive days below average from 12/25 to 1/8. Today will be the 12th consecutive day colder than average for the DC area. This pattern is set to continue for a long time to come. And our string of colder than average days could reach 21 plus. Hashtag Al Gore's a fraud. Man, if you still believe that nonsense. The mainstream is telling us that the modern eddy minimum will continue to descend into record territories. Total solar irradiance as the sun shut down is not going to end in 2050. They're blatantly lying to you. Where do you see it ending at 2050? Hello? McFly. Extreme cold snow have become more common in the Northeast. This is coming out today, and it's been coming out all week, where they're blaming Arctic warming and global warming for the record snow and cold everywhere in the Northern Hemisphere. After the weather we've seen so far this March, it may come as no surprise that a new study says extreme cold and snow are becoming more common in the Northeast. Heads up, Jimmy. You better get out of here soon. The weather is schizophrenic in a way. This is supposed to be a scientist, and he's explaining this phenomenon as schizophrenia. Dr. Judah Cohen is an embarrassment to science. And I hope you're listening to me. My number is 970-264-1073, Judah. Please call me so I can stick my foot up your arse. He's the director of seasonal non-forecasting at the Atmospheric Center for Nonsense, based in Lexington, freezing his arse off. His new study claims, and it proves what many suspected, that global warming is causing all of this record cold. When the Arctic is warm, and when they mean warm, they mean minus 27 C. It gets colder down south. Wow, what is that, Vic? What is this? Let's not get there. So, according to this non-scientist, Judah Cohen, who is a total charlatan, there he is, fraud. Global warming causes it to get cold, and Al Gore pays me $11,000 a year, and I have an indoor pool. Here I am flying in my private jet to show you the melting ice. Judah, I hope you have a good 401k, because that would be the only reason you're being such an arse. Maunder minimum. This is coming straight from NASA. Guys, I want to bring you to the paleogeographic temperature reconstructions back in the Maunder minimum. And if you look up here in the Arctic, you can see this big red spot. I'm sending you information now. There's information coming through. It's called science. Now, this is coming out from the same people that are telling you we're burning up. If you can look at the entire Northern Hemisphere here during grand solar minimum, it's mostly blue. Now, blue represents it being colder than normal. So the temperature anomaly we're going into means that most of the Northern Hemisphere is colder than normal. However, the North Atlantic is warm. The entire Arctic is warm. And look at this. North Pacific and Alaska is warm. Everything we see developing over the last 6 months. Whew. Let me see what's cold. Oh, the UK? Right here, east coast of the UK. Southern UK is cold. They're forecast to get snow this week. So is Northern Africa here in Algeria and Morocco. right where this blue dot is. And Siberia is completely covered in snow. There's no non-snow covered area up in this region. And this is the same for central North America and the Northeast. I wonder what it could be. I wonder if man is causing this. Idiots. Please keep watching my program. And at some point, you will be so well versed in climatology that you'll all have top positions. Stormy in Seattle, brilliant rainbow flanks, stunning hail shaft. This is hail falling in these vertical lines. And there's a rainbow. Yes, you can storm chase in Washington State. Smiley face. That's what photographer Michael Snyder tweeted as he shared this epic shot of hail falling over Seattle with a bonus rainbow. Thunderstorm brings heavy hail to the northern state. This is Northern California. Hail blanketed Highway 99 north of Chico. Was reported in Butte, Tehama, and Shasta counties. And this is just the beginning of the hail, guys. Over the next year, we're going to see hail accumulations over a foot standard across North America. The National Weather Service did issue a severe thunderstorm warning that expired an hour later. Hail was reported in Shasta, Tehama, and Butte, as well as dozens of other areas around the globe. Amber warnings for ice and snow in England and parts of Scotland. Met Office forecasts the worst of the weather for Sunday with rail and flight cancellations expected. There's a new amber warning for snow and ice, extending weather warnings for most of England and parts of Scotland as another easterly cold front is forecast. This is the subtle beast from the east. The warning, which means disruptions are likely, applies to areas south and east England, parts of the Midlands, and most of Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. That's the Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. Travel days on roads are likely, it says, chief forecaster. Narrow bands of 5 to 10 centimeters snow are likely. Strong easterly winds will result in some drifting. BBC Weather News. UK set for white weekend with bitterly colds as big freeze looms. Temperatures are forecast to plummet tomorrow as icy winds roar in from Russia via Poland and Eastern Europe. They're the numbers. They look frigid. More heavy snowfall hitting just weeks after near nationwide whiteout could see rafts of winter records topple. The first flurries are due to arrive tomorrow before temperatures drop to minus 10 C over the next few days. That's a 14 Fahrenheit hello to spring. It's cold over there. It must be global warming. There must be warming. You're looking at the CMIP6, which shows no warming for the next 100 years. Anywhere. Cold front to sweep North Africa and raise large amounts of dust, as well as dump up to 3 feet of snow in Algeria, Tunisia, and many parts of central Morocco. A cold front sweeping North Africa will raise large amounts of dust in the days ahead, creating red sunrises and sunsets, making people's heads explode and claiming that Nibiru is here, aliens have landed, and hundreds of other nonsense. It's just dust, folks, and the grand solar minimum and the changing patterns that will lead to crop loss, famine, and global unrest in a very short period of time. So you better start preparing. I cannot stress enough, if you do not have things packed away to eat, you are wasting time. FAO warns that protecting agriculture from extreme weather and climate change must become a priority in Asia and the Pacific. This is because over 30% of the crops have already been lost in this region, and this is the poorest, famine-rich area already. If they have nothing to eat, none of it will be exported, and you will have nothing to eat. Coming soon to a supermarket near you, nothing to eat. Seismic outlook. Guys, the KP has been up for days. come over here to spaceweathernews.com, and we can see we've been in geomagnetic instability for over 50 hours. 369, 18 hours of which we've been at KP4, almost never falling below KP2, except for this 3-hour period 2 days ago. The tendency for major earthquakes at this time is very low, because what's happening is there's energy in the form of a plasma stream and a Birkeland current, which you're looking at the Birkeland current shaft here. This is this circular tube here, which is also denoting the magnetic pole position, because we are in an electromagnetic universe. And here's the electricity pumping into the earth currently. This is the auroral forecast, where you would find the Birkeland current connecting to the South Pole and the North Pole currently, charging the earth, causing inflation to happen, but causing lithospheric flexure to quiesce. We do get auroral effects, which are coming all the way into here in eastern Canada, which is quite nice. There's over a 75% probability up here in New Brunswick, in areas up here north of Maine. But as the solar wind speed drops, we see we're going into a little peak here, drops off as we lose the magnetic connection from this northern coronal hole, which we can't see currently because it's not available. We should see an uptick in seismic activity. Currently we don't, but the New Madrid area is still having some minor perturbations here, 2.6 in Greenville, Missouri. So we're going to be watching this closely. And then this Caribbean, in the area of the Caribbean here, is completely inundated with small quakes. So this could be precursors to something pretty significant happening in this area of Puerto Rico. We're going to be taking a look at this. We have some deeper areas of movement, over 117 kilometers. So heads up there. Volcano news. Let's end this up. I feel like I've been talking for days. Sakurajima, Sabancaya, Swanosima. As I was making the video, I was over here in Volcano Watch's live stream. Sakurajima has erupted now 3 times tonight. Popocatépetl has an uptick in volcanic fountaining, as well as Stromboli, which we were all witnessing live. Sun just rising there. So come over here and check out the live stream at Volcano Watch. Subscribe, thumbs up, and say what's up. We're live. And that's a boom. Yeah, they're awesome over here. There's really good conversation. Everyone is very concerned about what's happening, and they're watching it. And we're watching it. But Sakurajima erupting a few times tonight. Here's another major event coming off right now. So get over here into this room to watch this live, because big things are happening at Sakurajima as well as Popo tonight. You can see the fireworks. This is all smoke covering the lava plumes coming off right now as I'm doing this. This is live. And so get over here. Check out what's happening. We'll leave that up so we can check out more on what's going on. Talking about Hemp Lucid, guys. They have a Facebook page, and they also have a blog. So if you come here, I'll leave you links to their Facebook. Just come over here and give them a like. And come check out their blog. It's going to bring you over here where here's the blog, hopefully. Bring it to me, yes. And you can get some information here if you don't know a lot about hemp or the chemical compounds found in it. You can find out why we need more hemp, the difference in Hemp Lucid, synthetic CBD, etc. There's also information, CBD facts, a blog, contact, etc. Let's talk about cannabidiol or CBD and the benefits. I make full plant extracts here that are loaded with THC. It's legal in Colorado, and all the medicine I make is a full plant spectrum. It's called Rick Simpson oil. And if you could just Google Phoenix Tears or Rick Simpson oil, you'll find out what that is. Now, that's illegal almost everywhere in the world. And it's illegal for me to sell it even here in the state. I can give it away as much as I want to my friends and family. That is totally legal. So if you want to taste some of the medicine, come on out to the ranch. But for the rest of you, you need to source a full plant tincture that doesn't have THC, and that's what you can get shipped to all 50 states and many countries. And that's the hemp lucid tinctures. These are full plant tinctures that they've removed the THC biologically, where they don't grow a plant that even has it. So you can come out and check out the new study that they just got done on the 5th of March, 2018, and it's showing that they have less than 0.01 THC coming in at all, and it doesn't register on certain meters. Very low, an excellent plant to be using for the full plant spectrum. Now, if you want to know what it's good for, here are the 8 proven benefits of CBD, and this is coming from the mainstream and science, because CBD has been easy to do studies with because it's not THC, which is federally illegal. CBD is not. So if you can isolate it, you can study it. Now, what they've determined is it relieves pain and inflammation. And 80% of all Americans are suffering from inflammatory disease. So what that means is if you can source your own natural CBD, which has no side effects, is completely safe, and is absolutely nutritionally beneficial to your body, you could solve your inflammatory disease issue without taking dangerous pharmaceuticals which have side effects. And that's what we should be doing. Moving away to pharmaceuticals, which when the SHTF happens, are not going to be available. So you need to really start transitioning yourself to natural pain relief now. So the proven benefits of CBD include relieving pain and inflammation. CBD also has antipsychotic effects. Research shows that CBD benefits include producing antipsychotic effects. It appears to have a pharmacological profile similar to that of atypical antipsychotic drugs, which are very dangerous and have multiple side effects. CBD, however, 0 side effects. It is shown to reduce anxiety. Cannabidiol has shown to reduce anxiety in patients with social anxiety disorder, and researchers suggest it may also be effective for panic disorder, OCD, social anxiety disorder, and PTSD, of which I suffer from 4 of those, which is why I take 100 milligrams a day. Otherwise, I would be completely insane. I have OCD, ADHD, PTSD, and SAD. You wouldn't know it if you met me because I have a very good health profile and I take the right natural medicines to help me interact with the public. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't taking cannabis medicine right now, making this video. Now, the most important thing, number 4, helps to fight cancer. The most anti-cancer properties of cannabis come with the THC, which is why Rick Simpson oil is really the way to go if you want to try to solve your aggressive cancer issues with cannabis. CBD is not the best thing, but if it's the only thing you can get, then get it, because several scientific reports demonstrate that CBD benefits include possessing anti-proliferative, pro-apoptotic effects that inhibit cancer cell migration. This includes adhesion and invasion. So it actually slows down the cancer progression and stops it. And a 2006 study published in the Journal of Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics found for the first time that CBD potentially and selectively inhibited the growth of different breast tumor cell lines and exhibited significantly less potency in non-cancer cells. And with the astonishing rates of breast cancer worldwide, why wouldn't you be taking CBD if you can? It's a no-brainer. A 2011 research added light on the cellular mechanism through which CBD induced cell death in breast cancer cells, and they showed that CBD induced a concentration-dependent cell death at both estrogen receptive and estrogen receptor negative breast cell cancers. They found that the effective concentrations of CBD in tumor cells have little effect on non-tumorigenic mammary cells. So it's completely safe, and all it does is kill cancer. It behaves as a non-toxic compound and shows that doses of 700 milligrams per day for 6 weeks do not show any toxicity in humans, suggesting it can be used for prolonged periods at massive doses. It also suggests that it can be used to inhibit the invasion of lung, colon cancer, plus it possesses anti-tumor properties in gliomas and has been used to treat leukemia. Why do you think it's illegal, folks? And it's only now hitting the market in recent years. They've been keeping this information from you because this would have removed billions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry if it had been available the whole time. And the best thing is, if you're worried about the mind-altering effects of THC because you once tried pot when you were a kid and it made you paranoid, this won't do that. It's completely safe. There are no psychoactive effects, no intoxicating effects, and it will help you sleep in some cases. So, the information is in. If you have any pain or inflammatory disease, if you suffer from anxiety, if you think you might be struggling with cancer, no brainer. Completely safe product. Get some. And if you get it from Oppenheimer Ranch, it's 20% off at Hemp Lucid. So I don't know why you would buy it from anywhere else. Am I trying to tell you something? Guys, the magnetosphere is waning at a very fast rate. Here are the 3 data points that the mainstream is willing to give you, including NASA and NOAA. We're going to be getting another data point probably in 2018 here, which will confirm the exponential decrease in the magnetic shield that the Earth's pole is weakening to a point where catastrophic effects will be imminent. We're witnessing them currently. Now, from the information that came out from NASA and the Ulysses spacecraft, the solar wind pressure is diminishing at an astonishing rate, which may reach towards zero near 2030. And at the same time, 2030 corresponds with the end of cycle 25. And if you're not prepared by then, it will definitely be too late. Guys, I hope you got something out of the video. The time is now to start preparing. Tomorrow I'm going to share the second episode of the discussion on Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, with Dr. Anita Bailey, PhD, author of Cold Times, Preparing for the Mini Ice Age, where we discuss securing water, purifying water, growing your own food, securing long-term food staples, and other topics that will help you survive and thrive in the coming times. An event is going to happen that if you're not prepared for, is going to make a very bad day get much worse. Be safe, everybody.